This is good culture.
Dear friends, although I was eager to write you about the salvation we share, I found it necessary to write appealing to you to contend for the faith that was delivered to the saints once for all. Do you know that scripture by heart?
Yes.
Can I test you right now?
The one that you just read?
Well, whatever version you know. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here with a good, not only just a dope person, but a good friend of mine. I think we're good. Are we good friends?
Yeah, we are good friends.
Because sometimes you got to ask people. I don't like to like, hey, some people, we're not friends. But I am here with a good friend, and she is a dope individual. She is the founder and president. Is it president, or do you call yourself CEO? She is the founder and CEO of Jude 3 Project. Jude 3 Project basically is an organization that I help get to prominence, and once it became prominent, I was no longer needed. We're like, let's move on from this joke. But is an apologetic site, and not only just apologetics, but I think just theological training, just giving people resources on how to defend their faith, but also to give an answer for the hope that they have. And you've done a wonderful job, not only with Jude 3, but with the conferences. And we just got back from a tour, which we're going to talk about. Well, not a tour. You're doing a tour. I did the one-off, but of HBCUs. So, Lisa Fields, welcome to the Good Culture Show.
Thank you for having me, Sho Baraka. So much I could say. I will say, we didn't drop you. I think you're getting us confused with the AND campaign.
Oh. The AND campaign, I knew better. I was like, I got to step away because it's a little bit too much for me, these political talk. But anyway, yeah.
But thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's dope. All right, so you had a book last year that came out. What was the name of it again? Yellow. I remember it being yellow.
When faith disappoints.
When faith disappoints. Yes. Giving good answers and critical answers to...
Do you know what it was about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually read some of it. Because there's a lot of... just the giving answers to the deconstruction, just the struggle of how people go through loss and hard things, and like when you feel like God is not present, But you're also working on a new book.
Yes. And
tell us a little bit about this new book that's coming out in June of next year.
When Heroes Fall.
When Heroes Fall. And I think one of the things that I appreciate about you was about 2 years ago, when I was coming out of my dark season, you would reach out to me randomly, and I think the Lord was speaking through you. You would reach out to me randomly and just be like, "Man, how can I be praying for you?" And I'll be like, "Yo, this sister." Like, there's certain people who like know things, they're smart, but there are people who just are, I think, just know the Lord, and I truly believe you know the Lord sometimes.
I try.
Yeah, the Lord is...
It depends on who you ask.
But look, those people, it don't matter. From my vantage point, I see that you are a faithful witness of the Lord's goodness, and you carry it in a way that I think is beautiful. So we're going to talk about apologetics, the state of apologetics. We're going to talk about your book, the writing process. We're going to talk about HBCU campuses and what we can be doing as a church to connect with HBCUs, and maybe just the concern of our current, like, what is the evangelism or the apologetic that is necessary moving forward in these next 5 to 10 years that you may. But what's happening in the world of Jude 3, like right now? What is something that you're most excited about?
Well, I'm most excited really about what we're doing on campuses with our ACTS initiative. And so our ACTS initiative is something you just were a part of at Tuskegee. It's the evolution of our
TU.
Okay.
You know. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Sho got they kind of shaded where Sho used to live. the students. So that was interesting to see during the event, but we won't go into that.
No, we won't.
But I'm most excited about that. It's the evolution of the HBCU tour that you had participated in before. But this time during the day, we have the video crew going out asking students like questions.
Yeah.
And during at night, it's completely Q&A. And so it just gives us good a good gauge. It's just one iteration. We're working on how can we like have a presence on campus beyond just one event.
Yeah.
So that'll come further. But just engaging students and figuring out what is the issues of the day for Black students is something that will help us as we continue to grow and expand, that we're creating programs for the actual needs and not just kind of shooting in the dark. We're actually
Yeah.
talking.
And I've seen some of these videos that you guys post on social media, and I think the engagement is really interesting. And what are you learning about some of the ways in which people are answering these questions in your Ask initiative? What are you learning about this generation? What are you learning about students, the things that they're concerned about, the way that they're processing faith?
The biggest concern we see if for them with Christianity, and when we do the surveys, like took the survey, every school we go to, the top two answers are, what is the biggest obstacle for you in Christianity? Hypocrisy and the way Christianity has been used to harm people.
Yeah.
So it's not really, and we give them logical questions. Like,
So it's
do
not
you
even
have-
theological
yeah,
stuff.
we're like, do you have an issue with the Bible? Do you have a
Right.
problem with Christian
Yeah.
doctrine? It's behavior.
Yeah.
And so it is really is a pressing into church culture to realize, hey, incarnational apologetics is very, very important. So apologetics is broken up into two streams: incarnational, informational. We're most familiar with informational.
Absolutely.
Incarnational, I would argue, is one of the most important, because what's the point of you being able to prove the resurrection if you don't live under Christ's lordship?
Yeah.
You undercut your own information. And so I describe it always as two wings on a plane. What do you want, the left wing or the right one?
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere with either wing. You need incarnational and informational to be able to have an effective gospel presentation. And so I think that the students they're like, I hear you hit me over the head with information. Do you live this?
Yeah.
Is it applicable? Does it actually transform you?
Yeah.
And I think there's a hunger to see transformation because they want to actually get out of the rut and the despair that they're in. And so it's not like they're necessarily just being critical, but it's like they need to see something that works so they can actually apply it to their life for transformation.
Yeah. This is something that you're deeply passionate about because you went to a very Black college in Liberty. So I understand.
Shots fired.
So I understand why you're passionate about this.
You should make that a clip. That'd be a very funny clip.
Why? So what has been the praise report in doing these Ask initiatives and reaching out to these college campuses and being there?
I think, when I hear from students and the impact, I always say I'm very disconnected from the impact of Jude 3. And that's intentional for me because
You want to just remain humble or sober-minded? What is the...
I think sober-minded, I think one of the things that helps me is this was never my career goal.
Huh? Oh, because you was a banker. You was in the banks.
I
You was
wanted
in
to
there
be
making money.
I wanted to work on Wall Street.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is
A lot of y'all, see, she came humble today. Usually she come in these heels. I think the last couple of times I haven't seen you, she's had these leopard.
Well, as I'm on a college campus, I'm trying to relate more with the students.
You gotta connect.
So I don't want to.
Well, you got to wear like sweats if you want to connect with these students.
We're not going that far. I'm meeting them
And
in
a
the
bonnet, sweats and a bonnet. That's
I'm meeting them in the middle with a t-shirt, jeans, and tennis shoes.
all right. So this wasn't your career.
Yeah, and also I think one of the things in my book I talk about when heroes fall. When my hero failed, it gave me a soberness about what success was.
Yeah.
And so I kind of stay away from the being like just enamored with the impact
Yeah.
because I know it could dilute your perception
Yeah.
of reality.
Yep, that is real. If you
And
ever need to be humble, just call me and I'll let you know
yeah,
that you're loved by God, but your breath still stank. Not literally, because I'm just saying, like, So these college campuses are inviting you on. What are you learning about yourself and your ministry? Like, you're learning about what these kids or these youth, I'm sorry, these adults, these young adults. I'm so old. I'm starting to cut my bad. Oh, I'm calling you these kids. You're young. You're learning about what these young. But what are you learning about yourself and your ministry in light of being on college campuses?
I'm learning that how important it is for this current moment, particularly the way we do it. The emphasis on being incarnational, but also the focus on like leaning into the spirit. I'm still Pentecostal at the end of the day,
Come on now,
and
Shonda. No.
just the necessity of prayer for these students, and knowing that there are words that we could communicate, but there's the power of the spirit that these students need for the bondages that they're facing to be broken off them. It's not just like, we say some cool things or we answer a question, but you're dealing with people who are bound by traumas,
Yeah.
sin, things that they can't get out of naturally. And it's not going to be that I tell you a cool quote and I
Yeah.
quote you a C.S. Lewis quote or say something clever
Yeah.
that's going to break the chains. It's really like
Yeah.
understanding the power of God.
Well, let me ask you this to stay on this topic, but to diverge a little bit. Do you find that Protestantism at large, for the most part, does not have a you talked about Pentecostalism, you being a Pentecostal, and I do think in some of your Pentecostal spaces this is different. But do you feel like Protestantism in large does not really deal with the demonic and the spiritual realm in a way that gives real legitimacy to the spiritual warfare that's going on?
Yeah.
And what do we do about that? And how do we change that?
Yeah. So I just, interestingly enough, had a conversation with, what's his name? John Thompson.
Okay.
He wrote the book Deliverance. And I heard of him because of John Mark Comer. Are you familiar with John
Yep.
Mark Comer? His wife was having all kinds of illnesses they couldn't explain.
Yeah.
Her face was like contorting, all that. And she found out in her family history that her someone put a curse on her family that all the firstborn daughters would die or be sick, be deathly ill. And her brother called her and said, "Hey, I just found something about our history. And it makes sense because his daughter had died and all the firstborn women in their family line was sick, right?"
Yes.
And so she was like, they're like, John Mark is like, Portland.
Right.
Like, they like, we don't deal with this. This is
Right,
not our
right,
church.
yeah.
So he called John Thompson because John Thompson has a mega church in Canada, but they have a strong deliverance ministry. And he's a SBC. He came from SBC. So this is like something he learned from the mission field and just how God was dealing with him. Long story short, they prayed for her and she was delivered and instantly no sickness.
If that don't make you shout, I don't know. If
And
this was a shouting church, come on,
And
somebody.
so my friend told me about that story. And so I reached out to John Thompson and I just had him on the podcast. And he was like, this is something that should be happening in every church across America. He was
Yeah.
like, this isn't not like, you shouldn't have people coming oppressed by the demonic. And you like, I got to send you to the church down the street.
Yeah.
You should have people that's able to pray and this should be going on. And it's not a special thing. It should just be a part of.
But how much of apologetics do you believe is encountering like spiritual warfare or a defense against the demonic in a lot of ways?
I think more and more I'm starting to see that it's more than I realized. I think for the longest, and I talk about, you talked about me praying for you. Before 2021, that wasn't something I would do, right? There were things that God had to take me through my own, navigating my own struggles, dealing with grief, death of my grandfather, death of my hero, all of those things, COVID, navigating loss really pushed me into a more robust prayer life.
Yeah.
And so that gave me another level of discernment and a sense, or like where I could sense God saying, do this, pray for this person in a way. And that really opened my eyes to see I was doing the work all from my head
Yep.
before.
That's most of it. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead.
And God was trying to point me in a different direction. Because I mean, it wasn't that we weren't having some effect, but the effectiveness I'm seeing coupled with the power of prayer and leaning in to see beyond what I could see with my natural eyes, to me is more effective.
Has there ever been a moment that made you question whether or not God was real?
Yeah, it has been a time. I think when I lost somebody really close, like I was like just like in a really like deep, grief and like depressed, like asking like why and all that stuff. But other than that, I think that's like been the biggest moment that I've like ever asked like why.
I feel like there's been like, I'll say like micro moments, and like, you just gotta be like, God, like, why? But I feel like I've been grateful enough to not have like a major moment where I've had like a crack in my faith. But I think I've definitely had those micro moments where I've definitely wondered why things were the way they are.
This is good culture.
All right. So to go back to the HBCUs in college discussion, I'm noticed. Well, this is just I shot you an article, which you didn't read, which is obviously not a shock. Starting to learn that this is kind of a habit of yours. But
Who needs that?
one of the things that the article talked about is how the decline of male attendance at HBCUs is rampant, and like less than, I think it was 19%, if I'm not mistaken. But I'll post the image of the article. So one, I think it's important, like why is that important to address? But then two, what can churches be doing in order to have better presence on college campuses? Or what do you think churches or ministries should be doing? Because I came to faith on a college campus at Tuskegee University. Mm-hmm. It was through two people, my brother, who was a college minister at the time, who is now a pastor. And because I spent time with him before I went to college, he said, man, just find a Bible study. And I didn't really want to find a Bible. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to be a Bethune-Coon, as they And so I went to a Bible study. My second year is when it really hit me. And then I realized like the revival or the way that the Lord moved on our campus was not something that was common in other places. Like, because I thought my experience was the same thing everybody experienced, but the Lord really used individuals like Byron Johnson and folks who were on the Tuskegee campus. And I find that oftentimes there's a tension between being on certain college campuses, like in cities, like Atlanta, versus maybe in the sticks in Tuskegee. But yet and still, there needs to be a presence. Mm-hmm. So what would be some insight or some encouragement that you would give to churches or ministries about engaging HBCUs?
Okay. So to engage your first question about men not attending church, not church, HBCUs, college attendance for men across the board is down. Mm-hmm. And I just think it's the way we educate. The way
this is true.
Educate doesn't always translate to voice. Them being more hyperactive and having to be constrained. Yeah. Then I think if take it further, how we educate Black people, like fitting everybody into one learning model, I think is problematic. People learn different ways.
Yeah, there's a wonderful book, The Book of Learning and Forgetting by Frank Smith, that talks about the assembly line of education. But to your point, like a lot of the hands-on kinesthetic learning, like whether it even be automotive skills, there's been a demoralizing, if you will, of I forgot what you call it, basically like of electricians and not tech. What is it? What not? Oh my gosh. Anyway,
Blue collar workers.
I'll just say that
Uh-huh.
there's been there's been a demoralizing of blue collar work that I think, in a lot of ways, all of our work is gone to our mind rather our hand, and oftentimes people get shamed for even pursuing things that are more of your blue collar work. So I think, yeah, I don't even know. I just where I was going with that. But the second part of that question is what is
Yeah, I think so. When it comes to like minorities, it is statistically known that minorities learn better hands-on, men and women. So to force people into a model of education where it's kind of like auditory,
yeah.
visual, I
Is this
think
a study that you like? Is this? Do you remember vaguely where it is?
I can't remember. I think it was
gotcha.
a scholarly study,
Okay,
but I
gotcha.
can't remember where I read it.
Yeah,
And so that translates even to how we should think about how we educate Christians, Black people, how we should develop our curriculums. So even as we're
That's
thinking
interesting.
about
How so? Yeah.
like, our curriculums are kind of you
Very
read,
yeah.
you watch a video,
Yeah.
if a person learns hands-on and through discussion, that it needs a more robust way in which you communicate
You know
so
what?
people can understand ideas. So like
That's good.
I always use the illustration of when I was in undergrad, and I sometimes have a hard time remembering just dates and like if I'm reading a book, right?
Yeah.
I don't have that memory.
Yeah.
But if it's in a song, I can remember it. So like I always joke and say I passed my Paul test from 13 letters because I can remember
Yeah.
the information under a melody.
Right.
So I think thinking about that, how can we educate a generation of minorities by including the arts
Yeah.
and different ways for them to recall information. We do it with kids like that. They learn
Right.
the ABCs through the song.
Yeah. Gracie, is it Gracie's Corner?
Gracie's Corner.
That
yeah.
thing is blowing up right now.
Yeah.
I was driving down the street and I heard I was like, look at it. Why didn't I think of that? But I also think, as you were talking, as you were speaking, I thought about how do we even apply that to pastoral or ministry qualifications? Because oftentimes we think of people only being qualified if they go to seminary and they sit and they read these many books. But oftentimes those folks who graduate from seminaries have no real practical experience. But then you have somebody who's been leading in a community for 15 years, never had a seminary degree. They would be unqualified to pastor, said PCA church because they don't have THM or something, So do you think that also plays a factor in how we can teach people more in a kinesthetic or hands-on way versus it just being academic?
Yeah. You're gonna replicate what you've been trained to do.
Yeah.
Like if you've been trained in the classroom, you see it all the time in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Like you have consultants that really don't have experience building a business, but people pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then and they don't really have a success rate. I think that was the issue with the last Starbucks CEO. Last Starbucks CEO was a master consultant, but he had no experience actually running a business.
Yeah.
So they were like, we need to hire Chipotle's CEO because he actually has hands-on experience. And so I think we're seeing the same thing. Like he was tanking Starbucks because he just was a consultant.
Yeah.
He had all the academic qualifications,
Right.
but he had no hands-on experience.
I think about, and oftentimes when people are consultants, they can parachute in and out of places. There's not a lot of equity that you have to build with people. And so the long, faithful journey with somebody over periods of years is a skill set, because you not only have to understand the data and the information, but you also have to understand how to manage human beings. And when you don't have that responsibility as a consultant or as a seminary student, because you're just preaching to a bunch of classmates who are trying to get degrees, like once you take yourself out of this academic space, and I'm not trying to make it seem like anybody who's in seminary is not actually applying it into their like Sunday life or weekly life or whatever. But I do think there's a difference. And I've actually seen people who've thrived in education through seminary, but it just didn't seem like it quite turned the corner when they left seminary.
We had to read a book in seminary called A Little Exercise for Young Theologians by Tilika. I can't remember his first name. Started with an H. But he said in the book, I suffer not to hear a sermon from a first-year seminary student. Like, I don't want to hear it because it's all of these ideas that's not flushed out through experience.
Yeah.
And so there's a book we also had to read in seminary called Green Letters. And in that book, he says, any truth that you gain must be taken through a battle for you to actually believe it. There's things you can communicate, ideas you can communicate just like from your head, you know. That I feel like that was CHH earlier. It's like a lot of ideas communicated well, and then it's like it has to be flushed out through experience.
You hit it on the head. I think it's when your practice catches up with your theology, I think, because sometimes it's just the theology is running the race and you're dragging along the practice because it's like, it's not as important as long as I know the right thing to say. And as long as I think rightly about God, then I'm good. But I don't actually have to live that out in a way. And so, yes, I can see that in my own practical, I guess you could say, exercising of myself in the kind of Christian hip hop space. I was trying to look up the name of this brother, but a Japanese author and writer who has a book. He's written many wonderful novels, but he has a book called Novelist as Vocation. And I don't want to butcher his name, so I'm not going to say it. But he has this example, this analogy of two men who look at Everest. One man stands at the base, and he's observing it. And he spends days observing it. And he walks away feeling like, I know Everest. And he goes and writes about it and pontificates about it. And then there's another man who says, the only way I can know it is by climbing it. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we give the person who is at the base and stares and observes and studies and research just as much, I guess, credence of knowing the thing as the person who climbed it. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to discredit people who have the ability to know something by observing without engaging. I think there's something to that as well. There's a skill set there. But the way you know something is by doing it. Mm-hmm. And so I want to transition into apologetics in general. You said something about informational versus incarnational. I feel like a lot of apologetics. How about this? I feel like there's an industry now for apologetics. Mm-hmm. How do you keep yourself from being stained by the desire to thrive in the market, in the industry, the YouTube views, to be known as the person who is owning or destroys, or how do you stay away from competing with that and knowing like that's not the goal, but we are here to genuinely equip people, not to chase like chaos, if you will, but to truly like equip people?
I think this is when being a PK has actually been one of my superpowers. Mm-hmm. I watched my parents actually pastor people. And I know what it takes for people to the process of transformation in real life. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So I think I'm not overly vested in this, like I have to get people to believe a thing in a video. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I know that's not how people believe a thing.
Right, exactly.
And I also have done this long enough to know that weeds grow fast, trees grow long, take a long time. There's some people that are hot today that will not exist in 2
Grow
years.
fast, trees grow slow. Come on, somebody.
There's people that are hot today on YouTube that won't
Yeah.
be hot in 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Milli Vanilli.
Yeah. Girl, you know it's true.
But you kind of you cannot chase trends. We always shoot for evergreen content.
Yeah.
I want to help people get whole. And so that's my thought. And I also think one of the things that helps me is not only my parents, watching them, but also my friend circle. A lot of my close friends that I've known for 15, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
Some of them are feeling a little ways about church right now. I feel a little ways about faith. And it's different because I always tell people we're in this weird age. If you grew up in church, for me, church is a part of my livelihood. Like ministry is a part of my livelihood. I'm connected in a way that most people aren't.
Yeah.
You strip that away, I believe I would still be following Jesus. But for a lot of my friends, after they got out of that campus ministry bubble and they got real jobs,
Yeah.
it was like I'm barely trying to make it to church on Sunday, virtual,
Yeah.
disconnected from a community. So I'm thinking about how what I'm communicating is actually hitting real people, not actually people that you two I may never meet.
Yeah.
Like, how is this going to impact my friend who struggling with their faith right now because of this and that? Or how is it going to affect my friend that is married to same sex? Like, you know what I'm saying? How is what I'm communicating going to land on actually people I know?
So, in light of our desire to get information as a culture and a society, how does Jude 3 exist in both the incarnational and the informational apologetic? And is it possible for a digital resource to do that? And if it is, what ways are you equipping people?
So one of the things we do is like we're always thinking about spiritual formation and emotional health. You are only going to be as your spiritual health and your emotional health run together. And so I'm looking beyond enthusiasm. I was telling this weekend to someone over lunch. I said, what I have realized in time is that we have, when I was thinking about my hero that failed, we have promoted people that have an extreme testimony without asking them, have you ever healed from the trauma of the impacts of those things that happened to you? So what I'm noticing a pattern that people can have like wild testimonies. And they like, I came to faith, I stopped doing drugs, I stopped having sex. You're like, oh man, we need to put you with the youth. You need to tell them. But when life happens to them,
Come on.
they have now dealt with the traumas. It's like they were able to stop the big stuff. But over time, if you don't deal with traumas, it starts to it's like it starts to crack. And
You want to give an analogy that you? My bad. My bad. I'm sorry. These inside jokes. I gotta. All right. But yes.
But what I think we have a group of leaders in and on campuses, in churches that have extreme testimonies, but haven't healed emotionally.
Right. Well, you know what's brilliant about Paul is that we see Paul being knocked off the horse, but then we jump all the way to him doing extraordinary things, and we forget the fact that this brother went for 3 years and said, I need to work on myself and learn from other folks, focus on my relationship with the Lord, not be in front of people preaching and et cetera, et cetera. And I do think that kind of slow maturation is lost.
Yes.
In our
what makes it harder is because like you could literally have an extreme testimony, post it on TikTok, go viral.
Yeah.
And now you're looked at as the person that you're supposed to look to help. And then that we all see that crash and burn.
Yeah.
Like,
Do you think that's what do you think that, why do you, I don't want to lead you. Why do you think that is? That we see somebody with an extreme testimony, we love the fact that the Lord's doing work in them, and then we like, let's propagate them.
because usually we're thinking about somebody in our life that we want to see transformed. And we're like, they need to hear your story. And if they hear your story, they'll get out.
Yeah.
Like we see, like that is evidence to help somebody in my life. Usually it's a personal, connected to a personal person that we can't seem to help them get out of pain
Yeah.
or their sin.
That's good. So there's the disposition of being apologetic to people who are antagonistic to our faith. However, we are living in a time, I don't think it's that much different than any other time, but it's very obvious that there is disintegration amongst Christians, and that Christians don't agree on a lot of things. At least people who say they're Christians hold various views or dissenting views on what does it mean to be a Christian. Oftentimes they're political, but there are definitely big theological pivots for different folks. David Walker, and I want to shout out Sister Dr. Janvier, Jessica Janvier, who put me onto this, but David Walker, in his appeal, wrote to African Americans during that time saying, when we deal with the slave-owning religion of our day, it's almost like we have to Christianize the Christians. Like we have to preach the gospel to Christians. If we were to take that concept and move it into 2025, like how are you processing through this idea of, man, there's a lot of disintegration in our own house, if you will.
I've really just tried to see where the disconnect is for most people. The disconnect is different from person to person. Like I heard, someone was making a big deal about pronouns for God, right? They were like, I started calling God she, and I was like, interesting. But when I heard their explanation, I was like, I see what you were trying to do there.
Yeah.
I don't agree where you landed, but I see what you're trying to do. He started calling God she, or started being okay with the pronoun of she, because the woman that he encountered that she started doing it, he was like, why are you doing that? And she was like, that's the only way I can relate to God, because my dad used to molest me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so when they were saying God Father, she was constantly triggered. So she changed the pronoun for her own. So when I heard that, that was like, I need to start asking deeper questions when I encounter people. Not saying I agree with how they use it, but I need to know why, because I could be attacking something without knowing the pain behind it.
Yes.
So my thing is, when I see people that have a question, they have questionable theology, I want to know your journey to get there. Ask more questions, probing questions.
Yeah.
It takes me out of the assumption, and it helps me build a bridge, because usually you're trying to build a bridge over people's pain, and the more you ask questions, the healthier the conversation can become.
Yeah.
Now, this is easier said than done. And I think it's harder the closer the person is to you.
Yeah.
I would say sometimes we're great apologists to strangers, terrible apologists to people that we know and love.
I agree. And I think there's something to Jesus saying, like, a prophet is not accepted in his hometown. There's a sense that because we know people, there's no way that this person has the credibility to speak into my life. Like, I know you, dog. Like, like, I've seen you cuss people out. Don't come to me with that, Jesus. It's I think about my daughter's in here. I think about, she knows the worst parts of me. She's seen it on display. And for her to respect me and to love me is probably one of the greatest examples, even in like marital relationships, like one of the greatest examples of grace to know, like I've seen him at his worst, but yet and still, I still honor and respect him because I know what the Lord is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's crazy.
And it's humbling when somebody clocks you. I was speaking somewhere years ago, and a friend was with me, and I talk about this in my book too. She said, literally, "That was great. You communicated so great on stage. I wish I knew that, Lisa."
How did you feel about that? Like, what
I was
did
just
that do to you?
like, "Oh,
Did you feel like there's some legitimacy to what she said, or do you
yeah."
feel like
I mean, it was so legitimate that I wrote about it in my book.
I wish I knew that, Lisa? Yo, I feel like I had a friend who clocked me the same way. I was talking about how much I love my wife, yada 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 yada, and I said something like, "She's the most important thing to me," and this person was like, "I don't believe that. Like, I really don't believe that to you." And I was like, and it made me stop and say, "Yo, if this person this is one of my closest friends. If this person is saying that, then maybe." Even if I disagree with them, what am I presenting myself as that would make them say, "Nah, I don't think that's true." That's legitimate.
This is good culture.
I think this is a perfect segue into your book, When Heroes Fall.
I don't say the name of the person.
So that's what I was going to ask you. Why? Why don't you say the name of the person?
I have a whole part in the author's note at the beginning. One is because the book is not about them; it's about how to heal.
Got you.
And
then you feel like if you identified that person,
that it overshadows the book because it becomes a media.
yes, yeah,
And the book is not as much bigger than the person. It's about people navigating pain from any hero, whether it's a parent, whether it's a coach,
That's good.
whether it's a
I hear you.
spiritual person. We all have people that we admire that don't live up to their expectation. And really the person in the mirror, we don't live up to the expectations we have on ourselves. And so it's really, how do I heal? How do I understand, like, why was this person my hero to begin with? Like, what was I looking for? Because oftentimes we pick heroes from very self-serving and selfish.
Yeah, very vain reasons.
Yeah,
Yes, absolutely.
It's self-serving and selfish.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was all about selfishness because you could disregard them easily.
Let's sit there for a moment. Let's sit there for a moment. What does that say? Yes, I love it. I'm sorry. Keep going. We can disregard them so easy. So were you done? Because I have a question. Keep going.
I was just saying, like, what I had to come to terms with is like, man, one of the things I watched when My Hero scandal came out, I watched the people that was like, oh, that was my hero. That was the greatest person ever, blah, 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 blah. In 1 minute shift to everything you did was trash. And I thought to myself, how did you process it that fast? Because I'm sitting here trying to even, like, I can't even put words together, let alone put a tweet together. Like, I'm utterly devastated. I need to process what's even happening. How did you get, like, your whole first was like, I need to disconnect. I need to show people I need to get far away
from this as possible so that it doesn't stain me.
Yeah. And I realized, like, oh, this is a selfish endeavor. And it made me not only assess them, but assess myself. Like, what did I want this person to be? Why did I want this person to be this? And how was I seeing this person? And did I, like, one of the honest assessments I had to make is like, I don't even think I was like praying for my hero like that. Like, I just assumed he had it all together.
Yeah.
But a loving heart actually prays for a person. Yeah. So I had to come at and assess myself and say, like, I'm actually you're a utility to me. like,
Yeah, you're a resource.
yeah,
For me to use you for whatever goal I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah.
You're not really human.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
You're an idea.
yeah.
So you may kind of walk people through a process of what it looks like to heal from a hero fallen. Do you also address the potential of helping people to be restored themselves? Like, what does it look like to welcome back someone who has fallen?
So
and what does that look
I
like?
talk about like restoration. Like the Bible says, he who is spiritual restore. And I always put an emphasis on spiritual. The only people that can restore people are spiritual people.
Come on.
And if you have not restored anyone, you have to ask yourself, am I spiritual? If nobody has been restored under your watch, you need to
All we
investigate.
do is rebuke and send people off and cut them off, but you ain't restored nobody.
Then you are not spiritual. Your spirituality is related to how you process being hurt and disappointed and restore.
Do we have a culture that allows for that? Because the question would be, is not only are there institutions or leaders who probably don't restore, but the moment someone falls off, they don't have the endurance or the patience to want to be restored because they're like, I'll just go somewhere else and just live my best life where I'm anonymous. So how do we address that? Like, not only the people who are spiritual, but also the people who need to be, like, creating spaces for people to be a part of an ecosystem that restores. I'm sorry, I keep asking these. We're
no,
going
it's
on these
fine.
side quests.
No, it's fine. I think one is sometimes we run away because we don't think we're worthy of being restored. Right? I think when people fall in a major way and it shames them and they're like discombobulated, it is proof that they haven't really understood that they were always a mess.
Yeah.
Like, we have these ideas of ourselves where it's like, I'm a mess if I do this, then I really screwed up.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, you've been doing these things.
Yeah, you didn't get to Z, but you've been doing A, B, C.
Yeah. And so it's like we have a false sense of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's actually trusting that God actually loves us. I think the amount of Christians that don't believe that God actually loves them is startling. And if you don't believe God loves you, you're going to have a hard time believing that people can too.
Girl, that was a word.
One of the things I talk about in Hebrews, he says, like, care for the people who have been abused. But then he says, care for those who have been imprisoned. And I think it doesn't register to us what the Hebrew writer is saying. He's saying, pray for the victims and the villains.
Yeah, right.
Care for the victims
We think of it
and
as
the villains.
persecution. Like,
Yeah.
all those people are wrongfully imprisoned.
Yeah.
Not people who did wrong.
Yeah. And so when I live in the tension of, I have to, as a restorer, I live in the tension of caring for the victims and the villains. That pulls another gear out of me that really has to take the power of the Holy Spirit. I use this illustration in the book. If you have two sons, if your sons were fighting and one of your sons, out of a fit of anger, just punched the other one and caused him to have a broken leg, you care for both of them.
Yeah.
You take one to the urgent care, get his leg bandaged up. You go sit with the other one who was fighting and harmed the other son and say, hey, what's up? You got some anger issues. You need to process. Let's get you some help. Let's get you some counseling. You were on punishment because you shouldn't have did that to your brother, but we're going to get you help you need so you could be better. I think that's the tension that God wants us to live into. That I'm not avoiding the people that were damaged by the person who caused the harm. I'm not dismissing them. I'm going to take care of them. But I'm also not going to throw away the person who caused harm.
Yeah.
Because I love both of them.
That just makes too much sense. I think you should be more punitive in your responses.
I got to give grace because I don't know at what point in different levels of seasons, I'm going to need it.
Yeah. As you mature, how has your faith changed?
As I matured, I think I've been more challenged on what it looks like to live a Christian life.
Okay.
Like when I was
Yeah, go ahead.
when I was younger, your Christian life was like, man, you got to stay away from temptation. Like
It was avoiding of sin.
avoiding of sin.
Mm-hmm.
Now it looks like, what does it mean to do relationships well?
So a lot of our Christian faith, I think, at a young age, is to keep us away from felonies. The felonies in the faith. It's like, just don't get pregnant. Don't be out here smoking dope. Don't be, but it's very reactive or defensive. It's not offensive or proactive. And I think as the older you get, you think about, what am I to do though? Like, how do I live it out? And it's also, as Dahadi, my brother, says, he talks about the Christian life is not about the avoiding of sin. It's about growing in grace. And as you get older, you grow more in grace and understanding. It's like, look, I already know I'm a sinner. But in spite of that, the Lord has given me the ability to, abstain from things, but also to do the divine enablement to do things. So I think that's really important for people to get.
Yeah.
So you do relationships well. How are we if you were to say, I look over the landscape of the American church, or Christians in America, let me just say that, how do you assess our doing of relationships?
Horrible.
Okay. Why? What are the things we're getting wrong, and how do we correct it?
We don't invest enough time in relationships. We don't prioritize things that are not romantic or family. And Carmen Ines really challenged me in her new book, Becoming Family. Dr. Ines is an Old Testament scholar. She says that in the ancient days, the highest relationship was sibling. That if your brother asked you to do something and your wife asked you to do something, and it was at the same time, you had to do what your brother asked you to do.
Interesting.
So when Jesus is putting emphasis on the sibling and Paul put the sibling language, it's like, understand the weight of what they're calling you to be in the lives of the body of believers.
Got you.
The prioritization. Yeah. She's not saying, not prioritize your spouse.
Because that's what I'm walking away with. I'm like, look, girl, let me tell you something. But my brothers need you.
She's talking about the weight in which we put on the community of faith in a relationship.
And also the proximity, because families were in close proximity. You had land, and you just didn't move to the suburbs. You stayed within a small community, which you still were close to your extended family. So
yeah. So I think our relationships are not good. Most pastors statistically don't have close relationships. Yeah. So it's hard to survive for the long haul in the Christian space, because it is a faith that's relational. Like, you don't know if you're long suffering until you have people that aggravate you. Yeah. Like, you can't bear out the fruit of the Spirit without relationships with people.
I was talking to a group of young men yesterday, talking about how we pray for the Lord to take things out of us. And I was like, look, you're going to pray for peace. You're going to pray for all these things. And the Lord ain't going to take it out. What he's going to do is bring annoying people in your life to say, hey, you've been wanting patience, huh? Well, here goes some annoying folks. Learn patience through engaging with them.
I've learned the most from the difficult people.
Absolutely.
And they're not
I've
difficult
learned a lot
because
from hanging with you. So yeah, amen.
It's not difficult because they're necessarily bad. It's just they're different.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their differences bring out the quirks in your personality.
In every one of our initiatives, we're helping faith make sense. That means answering questions with clarity and charity, even while facing the hardest questions head on. And the impact? It's growing. Our documentaries, Unspoken and Juneteenth, have been viewed over 1.3 million times and streamed for over 80 million minutes across platforms like Fox Soul, Tubi, PBS, and Amazon Prime Video. Over 4,300 people have been trained in person. Thousands are using our curriculum and completing online courses.
This is good culture.
All right, so your book is called When Heroes Fall. It comes out next year. Let's have some very practical things. Like why this book? You know, you just released a book in 24.
Yeah, I was like, man, I signed the book contract before my first book came out. The second one.
That's when you know you important. They like, give me, you want 3 what you want 3 deals? You want 4, 5? We give you a whole publishing company. So, why so soon? And so we already know why you chose this topic. Why this soon? And what is the process like for you when you write a book?
Yeah. So my process is very unconventional. It is experience, then process, getting to a healthy place, and then writing. So I write my books in 2 months, not because they're thought to paper, but it's something I've lived.
Yeah, makes sense.
And that is it was a couple years ago. I read this book, Francis McNutt book on healing, radically changed my prayer life. And it was from that book that I sensed that the Lord was saying, I've given you a gift of healing. And I didn't really understand what that meant. Like, I thought like Benny Hinn.
Yeah, you like, bring me your lame. I'm about to go raise.
But the more I go, both of the books really have been about healing. My third book, I feel like I've called to write. They've been about healing.
Gotcha. Yeah,
They've been about inner healing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the first one was helping you heal from the pain you feel in your relationship with God. This one is helping you heal from the pain in your relationship with people you admire. The third one will be, if I still gotta refine this, it's helping you heal from your relationship with peers. And so I feel like God called me to write those books, but he also took me through painful experiences to be able to write them.
Yeah. If you think about what is the overflow of what you communicate, it's your lived reality. And so if you spend time in the valley, eventually, now I want to ascend up to the mountain peak, but I need to live first before I get there. So you write your book in 2 months. So what does that look like for you? Like, are you going off to the mountains? What are you doing?
So the first book, I shut everything down. I offloaded my work day to day, and I just wrote. Now, my writing is from midnight to 6 or 7 a.m.
Wait, I'm sorry. First of all, you spend 2 months writing, and then you do it like a vampire. What is happening?
I don't know what it is, but I literally have my best ideas in the middle of the night. Like in the daytime, my therapist was like, "Lisa, we got to reverse this because you cannot continue to do this."
You acting like you a 20-year-old out here.
Yes,
those are 20-year-old hours.
Yes. But because I shut everything off. Yeah. Everything was locked in on my book. I could do that, so I could sleep during the day. So that was my first process. This time was more difficult because we had just brought our new COO on. I was working. I was traveling. I was writing, and I was still trying to write in those hours. Stressful, the most thing in my life, and the topic was way heavier.
Yeah.
So this was just this writing process. I feel like it almost took me out.
Yeah.
Just because my time management was all over the place.
So is it like a situation where you sit down, you say, I got to write so many words a day? Or is it you just write until you feel like I need to stop? Or how much of this is, I guess you should say, outlined before you sit down? How much of this
I literally have a chapter title and I just start writing.
You just start writing.
It's a very poor way to don't duplicate my process.
Yeah, we're going to cut all this out. No, it's your way, and I think
Yeah.
that's good. It's the way you. I was thinking about when I first started recording music. All the artists I would work with would be like, "Yo, Sho, we going to the studio." I'd be like, "All right, what time? We going? We going about 9, 10 o'clock at night." And I'm like, "Oh, word." And then started getting older. I was like, "Look, my creativity has a curfew, y'all. Like, I got a certain time where I'm functional, and I don't believe in this like best creative. So for you, that's great. I think I've learned how to manage and manipulate my creativity. So, do you read a lot when you write? What are you pulling from sermons? Because I know some people like they're taking manuscripts at all. So you're just literally, I have this title of this chapter, and I'm just
I have
writing.
to relive the moments
Okay.
in my mind. Scripture for this, I think I what I did do that was helpful was I went back and watched some of my heroes lectures, which is wild to listen to them
Yeah.
on this side, to think about it in light of what I know was going on,
Yeah.
or what I can piece together versus what he's communicating on stage, to just kind of get me in that mode. This one took me on just emotional because I realized that a lot of my disappointment was tied up in the affirmation. So I never felt like I fit into the apologetics space. It's dominated by white old men. I'm a black younger woman. I'm getting older now. But
You
when
still
I
look young.
started,
You still look young.
I was younger.
Yeah.
And when he validated me and like
Yeah.
quoted me and like gave me like credibility, put me on platforms, it gave me a sense like I belong. But then when you know things that he was doing, you start wondering, was this manipulation? Was this like sincere? And so I had to go through that in my mind as I'm writing. And
Yeah.
writing, typing, crying, trying to relive moments.
Yeah.
And so it just took me on a very much an emotional roller coaster. But it was really helpful, cathartic, another additional layer of healing, and then reconciling like, oh, okay, the tension of the two, that people can be sincere and be living in duplicity. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't, you have to learn to hold those things in tension.
So, how much of a problem or rather this, you talk about holding these things in tension. What type of tension do you experience when referencing this individual today? For instance, to take it to a different analogy or example, many of us know Bill Cosby to be quite problematic. If it seems to be that a lot of allegations are true, he went to prison. So there's no question of whether or not there are people who have been hurt by his life. However, he left behind some great work. What is the tension between understanding the complexity of the human being while at the same time appreciating the work? Very similar in the way that people may quote Jonathan Edwards, George Whitefield, et cetera, knowing that these people own slaves. So how do you wrestle with that tension?
I think you have to tell the complete story. So I use the example of David in the genealogy in Matthew as a springboard, that David is known as Jesus is known as the son of David, but then they also reference Bathsheba, wife of Uriah. So it's like yes, he is in the line. Like Jesus did come from his line, but
She was married to somebody else. Just want to let y'all know.
but he
Yes.
took someone else's wife,
Yep.
had Uriah murdered.
Yep.
So we are going to talk about the ways in which he contributed, but we are also going to talk about the ways in which his life had devastating implications for others.
Absolutely.
And I think the tension is the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is the tension. The truth is, going back to the example of me, I am a good communicator on stage, and that part of my life with my friend, I was not a good communicator in our relationship.
Yeah.
Two things can be true: dope on stage, not dope,
Not dope off of it.
and so that is the tension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who may be watching who want to write. And we just assume that people know like this process. Talk to us about the process of idea to publishing. Like the smallest, maybe the most obvious detail to you. Like somebody reached out to you.
Yeah. Well, I reached out to you, and you connected me to Andrew. So you were part of my book journey.
Well, yeah,
I didn't
that's
even
why I'm saying
realize.
I need a percentage.
I
need
didn't
a
even
percentage.
connect that.
Where's my money? Where's my check, player?
So you connected me to my
Literary agent, yep.
Andrew, and we talked for maybe 2 years before I even like put a proposal together, and during that time I had asked Yana to help me put my proposal together, because it was funny. I didn't think I could write, so I was going. I just didn't think I had enough in me, so I was going to like just get a ghostwriter.
So let me stop you there. Two things. One, for people who want to write, the real writing, ChatGPT is not writing, but understand there's very few people are going to get book deals unless you have an agent. But not only that, oftentimes agents won't sign you unless you have a platform. It's unfortunate. It's sad that that's the case, but it just is. And so, because publishing companies need to sell books, and the way that they want to sell books is they're going to say, well, what kind of following and presence do you have? So that's one. The other thing you said, I didn't know if I can write. This is the one thing that I think other people have to understand. As I work for CT now, and I do a lot of mediating for people who, because I don't actually edit anything, but I am even though my job is a director, I'm an editorial director. One of the things I realize is that a lot of people are intimidated by the writing process, but that's what editors are for.
Yes.
That's what editors are for, ladies and gentlemen.
H.B. Charles said there are no good writers, only good editors.
Come on.
And
I disagree with that, but I hear him. I definitely agree. I think I'm a good writer, but I'm a better writer when I get an editor on it.
yeah.
So
but
I think that's a good
she helped
point.
me get the proposal in, because I was in my mind, I was just gonna I'm gonna get a ghostwriter. I can't write this. And it was a friend of mine and Charlie dates, and another friend was like, at least write your own book. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. That was good wisdom.
And
If you would have done just entertain. If you would have done the ghostwriting, how? Like you would have just like given them like a whole bunch of.
Yeah, you write it with them, but they kind of write it. Yeah. But I think it would have stripped me of the process. Like it's something hard. Like I know I could do.
Because some people do ghostwriting through like, here's a sermon, just write it for me. Here's the main points I want you to just write it in my voice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was just asking, like, how would how involved would you have been in the process?
Yeah, I think it would have stripped me. Like I know I could do hard things. Jude 3 has been hard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But even though you can do hard things, there's some hard things you like. Do I want to do that?
Fact.
Like, do I have time?
Yeah.
But I think the book showed me like you can do hard things.
Yeah.
And it helps you grow in your communication.
Yes, it does.
It forces you to think through your ideas. And I would have cheated myself and robbed myself of growing in a way if I had to just kind of pass it off to somebody else.
One of the things that I've learned so much in the book process, but now working for CT, is the importance of supporting an idea. Because before I would just say something and I'd be like, that's truth. They'd be like, wait, hold on. You can't just say that. Like, where's the support for this idea that you just thrown out there? And I have that kind of gripe with video content, because we can get on this podcast and we could just make grand statements without any kind of resource or reference, better yet, or citation. And my editor saved me. I quoted I'll just say I quoted Farrakhan in my book. And I had this idea that Farrakhan said this particular thing, and I was so certain of it. I knew it because I had said this in lectures and sermons before, and then I put it in the book, and he was like, "Yo, this is not a real quote." And I was like, "What do you mean it's not real?" He's like, "Yeah, this is the actual quote." And he sent it to me, and I was like, "Oh my Lord." I was like, "I've been misquoting this. I've been lying this whole time." And so it's important that and so as you say, you learn how to become a better not only communicator, but you also learn how to discern information
Yes.
and understand what the difference between just an idea, a thought, and actual truth that can be supported. So
Yeah.
I think that's so you get the manuscript or the proposal, you send off, and then
Yeah. Then you write the book.
they first say, yes, we agree that this is
Yeah, they have to
we
agree.
want this idea.
Yes. Then you start writing.
Yeah.
And then
How long did it take for you to land on a publisher? Did you have multiple publishers that were?
I had 8 deals on the
Okay,
table.
yeah. And why did you choose?
Waterbrook Multnomah. I think they got me.
What do you mean they got you?
They got my.
Oh, I thought you meant like more like. I thought you meant it like as they like finagled you, they kind of
Yeah.
like swindled you. Like,
You know,
like
they had a nice offer on the table.
they understood you. Nah, yeah.
The money was nice, but also they got the concept of the book.
Nah. That's what I went through as well. And,
Yeah. And I think the other publishers, they were going to make it something. I don't know if they knew me. What I loved about Kim is I think she had been following Jude 3. So she understood a little bit, not like super thorough, but she understood a little bit about my background, what I was trying to communicate, the way which I communicate. And they saw what the book could do, that it was just beyond an apologetics book.
Yeah. All right. I don't know how many people were born now, but this is the kind of stuff I love to hear about. So, lastly, so you get the deal, you write the book.
And then the tedious process that's worse than writing is editing.
You feel like they are disrespecting you as a human being. It's like, we don't need this whole section. And you're like, why are you coming for me and my intellect?
So that part, when I first saw all the red the first time, I was just like, man, I just am a failure.
It's like, I am a terrible.
terrible. That's why I didn't want to write this.
Yeah,
So when I went to Kimberly, I was like, so like, do you not like any of it? Like, she was like, no, the red is normal. I was like, because
the editors are like, this is amazing, but this whole section needs to go. You'd be like, but that doesn't sound like you like it though. That sounds like you actually.
And this book, yeah. So the first book was hard to edit. This book was exceptionally hard because it was like, because it's like I'm trying to do so much nuance and thread a needle.
Because you're talking about a person and a human.
So they were like, this book is harder than your first book.
Yeah.
And this is a hard book.
You're not trying to get sued either. You have a perception of how it should be, and sometimes you don't meet that, and you think people are going to come with the same concerns and perception. But no, they're not in the process of making it. They didn't hear it. They get the completed work, and for them, it's like, this is amazing. But for you, you're thinking about what you should have done.
Yes.
And they don't have all that.
And then you're thinking about like the ideas that you set on. Like, it's a new idea to them. And you like, this new to you?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I often underestimate, and this may sound strange, but I often underestimate the intellectual sophistication of the people that I hang around with. Cause it's like, oh, these are just my friends. And then I go somewhere with them and folks are like, oh, yo, Lisa? And I'm like, yeah, Lisa. They're like, oh, Lisa Phil. I'm like, you know what? Yo, she is dope. I'll be forgetting that because I'm in a group chat with you. We text and it's like, that's just Lisa.
Remember my brother was with us at Kent State?
I don't, but I remember being at Kent State.
Yes. He was like, I saw people, and I was like, my sister?
That goes back to the earlier kind of like, is there any? I mean, a prophet can't be accepted in the hometown. All right, so we're gonna close with this. What's your least favorite interview you've done? I want you to say the name. Or what interview have you done that you felt like you didn't do a good job? The other person probably did a good job, but you felt like, man, I didn't pull my A game was.
There's a whole bunch of G3 interviews that I feel like I didn't do a good job at interviewing.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Like,
The one I just did with Malcolm,
Foley, my guy, like
and everybody was like, "That was a great interview," and I was like,
I didn't watch the whole thing. I saw a couple clips.
"Yeah."
Why do you feel like it wasn't as good? Because I haven't. I'm gonna go back and watch it now. But why do you feel like you didn't do a good job?
Because I didn't know what his book was before I interviewed.
So here's my thing. If you're gonna interview people, make sure you read their books. Know the people you're interviewing.
I knew about him, but it was just like I didn't know really where we were going. So I just,
Why did you have them?
Because I heard good things
Good
about
things
him.
about yeah.
And so I was like, I'll interview him. And
You fell into the trap that most people fall into. It's like, oh, he's hot. He's a name. I mean, like he's a hot name, and let me get him on the platform. But I have not done the due diligence.
See, what will happen is I'll tell my assistant I want to interview somebody. She'll put it on the calendar, and I won't look at it until the day of. And I'll be like, oh, shoot.
I was supposed to read that book today. Goodness gracious. It's a great book. Not only is it a great book, he's a great dude. We're going to be doing some work together, Malcolm and I. So
he is great. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
People were like, and I left the interview thinking, man, I didn't do a good job there. And then people was like, that was such a great interview. It was brilliant.
Well, it's because of him. He carried it, not because of Lisa. Oh, gosh. But no, it's crazy. I think, so do you think, I can tell when people do interviews and they don't really know a lot about the person they're interviewing. It's so painful. What are your thoughts on interviewing people and like either one, knowing who you're interviewing, but also the difference between interviewing someone's work that you agree with and interviewing somebody that you may not wholly agree with?
I try not to interview people I disagree with on the topic I disagree with them, unless I'm doing courageous.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so do you find that there's, as long as you avoid those topics, the interview goes?
Or if you think I asked somebody about sexuality and I thought they were, or
the same,
and they weren't,
and they just.
But it was when we were doing live shows
Gotcha.
before we used to do the Google Live.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't know my face showed it until Justin was like, "You look like a deer in headlights," because I was like, oh,
yeah. What interview was this?
It was years ago. It was on the Black Church and HIV.
Gotcha. You said somebody said you look like a deer in headlights. Who's that?
Justin.
Oh, Justin Gibney. He was like, you was thrown off. He was like, oh, where do I go from here? Maybe I just accidentally hang up. All right. So, what about you? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Do you regularly interview people that you don't read their works? Like, because there's a lot of people you read. So, and I'm asking this question in all fairness because you interview a lot of academics, and some of their work is dense, but you know they're expert on a topic though. So you bring them in to interview them on an issue. So, how often do you think you may interview, and then how often do you read their works after you know?
I honestly don't go back and read it because I don't have time.
Thank you for being honest. You could easily be like, oh yeah, 100%. I'm batting 100.
No.
All right, so we're going to close with this. One book that you would recommend right now to people. What would be that one book?
Healing, Francis McNutt.
Okay. Apart from my album, which you probably can't get enough of right now.
I listened to it multiple times while I was in Phoenix because I was like, I need to really give this a thorough listen, which I felt like I'll give you a problem. Very creative album.
Thank you.
It took you on a journey, which most albums don't take you on a journey nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't know if Cardi B's new album took you on a journey. I haven't heard it, so I don't know.
Cardi B's new album, but I don't know.
But
It may not be the journey I want to go on.
I'm not comparing you to Beyonce, so don't think I'm trying.
I wouldn't mind that comparison.
Okay, but I think her albums are very thought out.
Yeah.
Like she's not just putting songs together.
Right. Yeah.
It's like a theme.
Yeah,
and it
absolutely.
like takes you
Yeah.
on a journey. I think about Lauryn Hill's
Miseducation, the one album she needs. Lauren, come on now, give us some more.
She said one and done. It was the greatest.
Yeah. What do you listen to? What would you give to people?
I have different genres of music that I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
So hip hop, outside of Christian hip hop.
I wonder if you're gonna say the album I'm listening to. Give it to me.
What?
No, I'm trying to see if you're gonna say the album that I've been listening to as well.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you would like the same rap I like.
Okay, then I probably won't.
I enjoy Jay-Z.
But I mean, I thought you was gonna name somebody new, like an album, somebody who just released something.
Oh, I like Big Sean, but I don't, like Big Sean is
You
one of
like Ratchet? Okay, look at this. She just admitted she like Jay-Z, Beyonce, Big Sean.
I'm not a big fan of Beyonce. I
Oh,
like
you're
Kelly
just saying
Rowland more.
Okay,
I'm just saying as far as
got
she
you.
puts
I hear
out.
what you're saying.
Rappers, I like Big Sean,
Yeah.
Jeezy, and Jay-Z. It's so random. It wouldn't look like I would like
Because
those.
you hood, that's why.
It's so I've always been suburbs, so I don't know why.
That's what I'm saying. You try to
But
connect to that.
Christian hip hop.
What type of Christian hip hop do you like?
I enjoy your music. I told you that before I met you. I was a big fan.
Before she met me.
I like the true old stuff. I like old CHH.
So you're more of, because even thinking about the Jay-Z and even Big Sean in some ways, like the style of rap is more
old.
of
I don't know what's happening now.
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know. But gospel. I'm a R&B person. Okay. I love Fantasia. Okay. Jasmine Sullivan.
Yeah.
And I like gospel, but old school, like John P. Key, Minister.
Got you.
Clark Sisters.
It's funny that's old school.
Yes, Fred Hammond.
Because when I think of old school,
the Winans. Yeah,
I would say some of the Winans. I wouldn't think. Yeah, I guess. I think of old school. I'm like James Cleveland. I'm thinking like Andre Crouch. Not necessarily like maybe the beginning of Commission, but Fred Hammond. Nah, I'm like old school. But Kirk Franklin's old school now, I guess. That's crazy. All right, what are you watching? Is there anything that you're watching that's been encouraging and intriguing?
I don't know if it's encouraging, but I do enjoy. What's the new show on Apple?
Who's in it?
It's a British show. I really enjoy British shows.
I love British shows too. I'm telling you, I feel like, so we watch BritBox. My daughter and my wife, all they watch is Father Brown right now and Sister Boniface.
It's a great show on.
It's not Slow Horses.
Slow Horses.
Oh, Slow Horses. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, Slow Horses is good.
Slow Horses is my jam. I like what's that? Abbott Elementary too.
Okay, yeah, Abbott Elementary is hilarious. All right. The last thing I ask is also what food is like. You just like, man, if I had one dish that this is the dish you guys need to be eating. What is something that you just? It's not Papados. Don't say Papados. This woman comes to Atlanta. The first thing she wants to do is go to a chain restaurant, Papados.
I was in Phoenix this weekend. I went to Papados in Phoenix. I'm in Atlanta now.
We got to do something about this. We got to do something about this. Lord, go ahead, lift your hands.
Break every Papados chain.
Break every Papados chain. All right.
I really enjoy I stopped eating beef for a year and I started eating it again a few weeks ago. So I really enjoy a good steak and lobster mac.
Okay. I got a lobster mac for you in Atlanta. Even though I don't eat mac and cheese, but there's a spot that I think is pretty good. All right. Lastly, just give me one ridiculous hot take that can make this go viral. That's the whole goal. Just one ridiculous take. What is a hot take?
Kelly Rowland is better than Beyonce.
We did. Look, ladies and gentlemen, there you go.
I will stand on that.
You got 10 seconds to defend why. 10 seconds. I need you to look into the camera and tell them why Kelly Rowland is better than Beyonce. You standing on this?
I feel like she's a better singer than Beyonce. I enjoy Kelly's voice more.
Okay, you can say you enjoy her voice more, but the better singer. All right, you know what? I'm just going to leave it there. Ladies and gentlemen, tell us your thoughts in the chat. Subscribe, like, shame her if you feel the need to, you know.
Jacksonville is the greatest city.
Who?
Jacksonville is the greatest city.
They had a good win last night.
It really did.
Good win last night.
Duval.
Good win last night.
Yes.
And
Florida's the greatest state.
see, now this is starting to get ridiculous now, ladies and gentlemen. This is starting to get ridiculous.
First
of all, Jacksonville is not even the best city in northern Florida.
So I have a group of friends that hate Florida. We have a group chat, and I've changed the name to Florida's the greatest state and put a little, and they get so upset they change it, and I change it back.
So petty. Florida is probably top 5 worst states.
LeBron is the greatest, greater than Jordan.
Yeah, I knew this about
better than
you.
Spades?
I knew that Uno better than Spades.
Again, you all agree to this. We have a group chat, and every day we're talking in that group chat, and nobody agrees but me and Esau that Jordan is better. But y'all all concede because nobody changes the name of the group chat.
I just don't have the energy. I don't have the energy because the arguments are terrible.
LeBron is greater than Jordan, and Uno is greater.
I
wonder why nobody has changed that. It's like been 2 years.
Part of me is just like, I just given up. I've given up because this is like it's like you guys are a reprobate mind. It's like why even argue? I feel like I'm casting pearls to swine. Here's my thing. I don't even know how LeBron jumped over Kobe. It's like that's my argument. It's like before you get to Jordan, there's a bunch of Lakers you got to get over. Magic, Kobe. I'm not going to even throw Kareem out there, but
we respect them. Honorable mentions.
Anywho, to say Uno is better than Spades is nasty work.
Every day you look at it. You look at it every day. You see it every day.
That's like saying, I don't know, who's somebody who's made. So that's like saying, you said Milli Vanilli. That's like saying Milli Vanilli is better than Prince. That's terrible. Are you agreeing?
No, I'm not agreeing. I really only have heard one Prince song.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Good Culture Show. I did this as a joke. I was just like,
Rain. I didn't listen to Prince like that.
I don't care if you listen to Prince like that.
I have
throughout your growth and maturation as an adult, you should have been inundated. A friend of yours, somebody should have been a faithful friend and said, I have one of the greatest musicians to ever walk this earth, and I would like to share him with you. It's like the gospel, amen. If you have the gospel, you don't keep it to yourself. You share it with people. And apparently your friends don't love you, amen. First of all, your parents don't love you.
I've listened to a lot of Michael Jackson. Not all, but
see, this is a problem. We're talking about Prince right now. I ain't talking about Michael.
I feel like it's the same kind of.
Stop it! Stop the foolishness. Satan, the Lord rebuke you. Satan, the Lord rebuke you. It's not the same. It's two different. Oh Lord, I'm starting to. There's a trend here. You don't read books of people you interview. You go to Papados. I thought you was bougie, but I'm saying you're not as bougie as I thought you were. Kelly Rowland over Beyonce, which I don't really have a dog in that fight, but I've only heard or listened to one Prince song. That's where it
Purple
is.
Rain.
That's where it's.
And I only know like the chorus.
Adore. See, you gonna get me in my flesh talking about some Prince. I just need to stop. I just need to go ahead and stop. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I would say that was the Good Culture Show, but it's been the bad culture. It's been a bunch of terrible takes. Towards the end, it started off excellent. It started off amazing. We got to some wonderful theological truths, and then it just jumped off the cliff at the end. Thank you for listening to the Good Culture Show. We hope our conversation sparked something in you. And since you've made it this far, you might as well share, subscribe, and leave a review. Stay connected as we curate, create, and commentate. You can watch episodes on YouTube at Sho Baraka Show. You can also learn more about good culture at goodcultureinstitute.com. Until next time, be joyful and do good.
This is good culture.